Hey everyone, welcome back to Chaitaku. Hope you guys are all well. Good to see you guys again. If you're listening from before, if you're newcomers, welcome, and I hope you're having a really good 2024 so far. This is a throwback to our Chaitaku After Hours episodes that we like to do. So this is episode 2 of Chaitaku After Hours, where we are focusing on subjects outside of films and games and entertainment and pop culture, but focusing on things that are quite relevant to that industry, relevant to us as well as artists and creatives, and something that garners a little bit more in-depth discussion on specific topics. And we're talking back on to AI again. We're going to do a sequel catch-up because a very, very important topic that happened last time, and I think it's very relevant now. With what's happening right now with it, and I think it'll be really, really good to catch up with it because there's been some significant leaps in that whole industry. So Chaitaku After Hours episode 2. We're talking about AI again. We've got a good friend John back again. Say hello, John.
Hi everyone.
Hope you're well. Happy 2024 to you. Good to see you again. Been quite a while.
Likewise.
Excellent. And it's always good to have John here because he's very, very much knowledgeable in this whole topic as well, and I thought we'd carry on from the last one, so we're going to delve deep into it because we've got a lot to talk about. Before we get in though, what are we drinking, John?
Standard mocha today.
Okay, that's
full fat milk.
All good. I've got a nice green tea because it's like to keep it healthy right now. So right, John, what's been happening in the world of AI? I think I had to do this one because there's just been some absolutely astronomical leaps. The last time we did this episode of After Hours was in September, and even now, was it 6 months later? Wow, this is the era of AI, and it's just going from strength to strength, unfortunately, because I think it's just a really significant impact right now, and the ramifications of it are huge right now. Like, this is like, there's no going back now. This is it. This is like Pandora's box.
Absolutely.
What's been happening? Well, we spoke last time about the consequences of what it's doing to creatives within the art industry, within writing, ChatGPT, within essay writing, images, obviously, even a bit of video games. But I think the significant leap now is we're going to be talking about OpenAI Sora technology, which is just insane, absolutely insane. And I just had to do this one because I just last week it just all blew up on social media, where these little clips were coming out, and it's just ridiculous now.
Yeah, and I think this is the first one that really even the skeptics were like, okay, hold on a sec. Yeah, okay.
I think everyone's
I can't ignore this.
Yeah, if you didn't know about any of this before, now you know, because I think the consequences now are astronomical. So what is OpenAI's Sora technology? Well, it's video generation, and just like the image ones, you can put some prompts in, some descriptions, and it will technically create you some video footage. Now, at the moment, the clips we'll be seeing are quite short, but
am I right in thinking that this particular model has actually even taken the AI world by surprise to some extent, in terms of this was very much a best kept secret? I think when they were talking about this model they were going to release, they never actually revealed quite the extent that it was going to cover the video clips. So this is, I think, even taken the inner circles of AI by storm to some regard.
Definitely, it's overtaken. Well, DALL-E 2 and Midjourney obviously are doing their own thing, but this OpenAI one, I think, just out of nowhere, boom, and it's pretty much shocked everyone. Not just the people who are into AI and the people who know of it, but like everyone has now seen this, because I think the implications of it is just so mainstream now that everyone's taken notice, because it's not just about image creation, it's about they're doing so much with it now, and the consequences are actually quite brutal if you look into it. So
so let's go on.
These clips are insane.
I was going to say let's start with these clips, because this is all we've had is this set of clips that have just completely blown up the internet. we still don't quite know the prospects in terms of the generation, but I think if it's following anything that's gone before, it's going to be quite intuitive and easy to build upon. So I'm not going to state anymore that, well, I never was like that, but I'm not going to state that, oh, this is not authentic or this has been manipulated to look better than it is. Like I'm pretty sure from what we've seen that we are getting a true insight into the full capabilities of these models with a bit of tinkering are going to be extremely authentic. Some of these clips are bewildering, let's be honest, in their quality.
Mm-hmm. And
we have street scenes, we have scenes with panning cameras, perspective, lighting systems, shadows, lighting, all in play, very complex crowd scenes. I've seen a parade with 2 dragons going through a crowd. I literally focused on one person in the crowd and I didn't see any morphing or bad party errors. And it just, I saw extreme close-ups of octopuses, of peacocks that looked 99% authentic to the real world. Just incredible leap. I don't know if this model was based very quickly off another model, which is what I want to talk about today, is the speed of which this is happening. Is the AI now able to train itself at a tremendous speed, or was this model built separately? And because from what I could tell, what we saw, and I was a bit late to this, I was abroad, I came back, everyone was talking about it. And I was just like, what's the fuss? Is it just another slight leap? And then I was like, oh my word, wow, that looks incredible. And it seems to be built off a very quick turnaround from another model. And I think that's the scary thing. I believe 6 months ago, we would have predicted stuff like this in 3 to 5 years. And it's here in months. And this is why I'd say this is different to anything that's come before. Any breakthrough technology before, the human mind has had the chance to digest it and work with it before it moves on too much, including digital art, including the internet. The speed of this is too fast for humans to comprehend. So this for me has been the problem from day one with this tech, and this absolutely seems to highlight that now, this sudden leap, which is just unbelievable, really.
It's like it's been a secret weapon brewing behind closed doors. But and this is like it's just still a prototype kind of phase, but even then the results are astonishing. Now, obviously you've seen the images that AI has produced over the last year or so. Some of them photorealistic. There were images, but now it's doing actual movement, as you said, camera movements. They're doing different camera angles. And even with early AI imagery, it still looked a little bit, a little bit uncanny, a little bit fakey, a little bit a little bit Photoshoppy. But I think it's gone beyond that point now where it looks like photorealism now. And it doesn't look like silliness. I know a lot of the original AI stuff was just done for jokes, like, monkeys playing chess.
Yeah, where this looks like real promo stuff now, isn't it? Like tourism videos and news reports, panning drone shots. Yeah, wildlife on one footage. I saw a clip where they just took someone's sort of vector-based characters. So this is back to just 2D line art, and they just told it to dance, and it just kept the consistency for everything. So that's huge implications for animation. Again, just multiple fields at once, and the human itself looks fantastic. Like generally looks like genuine people in shot, which is a whole new set of ramifications, isn't it?
Yeah, it's everything it can do.
And it's all, for me, it's just the speed. Again and again, I come back to this breakneck speed of these changes, and the lack of. There just doesn't seem to be any genuine talk about controlling this. Is insane. So, it's going to become insane. We're on the brink of world war. We're going to have some of the most fake news imaginable. We are just entering. I mean, when you see these clickbait titles, get ready for a crazy 2024. I honestly think we are going to the era now.
It is
in all ways.
It's just going so quick that the speed of this technology is just every single second. I guess it's just improving itself. Last year, remember, we had the first kind of video footage of AI videos coming out, and they were just really weird looking. And like the Will Smith eating spaghetti was the most famous one, where it just looked so off and so weird. But I think someone now just did it recently, and it just looks so realistic now. It just looks real. And
so to sum up the ridiculousness of this whole world we're entering, that video you're talking about, which is a new version of the Will Smith eat spaghetti,
yeah,
turned out to be Will Smith filming himself eating spaghetti, posing it as AI, and that's where we're at now.
okay. So this is the thing, you can't even tell if it's real or not as
Yeah.
well. And remember, we've got to understand that why this is such a big thing is because, remember, number one is that all of these AI imagery and video footage is obviously stolen from so many different sources, where you can't claim it for yourself because it's just been fed into this system. So it's all coming from everywhere, and every little thing you put out there can be part of this whole result. So you don't know where it's coming from, but you know someone else has owned it. It's coming from so many different sources. It's hard to track where it's actually come from. So that on top of, you know, it's just stealing stuff, and then now it's gone to a point where it looks so real that sometimes it's really difficult now to where to track the sources. Where has it all come from as well? You can't. Whereas even with the imagery, you could tell certain things were from different artists, and you know, you could see, okay, this is from there, this is from there. But this video footage is just it's unreal because there's so much footage out there. So many, you know, people have uploaded their own stuff from their cameras and their phone cameras and their own video footage, and just sourcing from Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. It's just, you can't tell now, and the regulation is it's virtually impossible.
Yeah, because the argument was that the regulation would be what keeps it in check. You know, if you have to be accountable for what you're uploading, or you can't claim ownership of it, that's going to be detrimental to your desire to create it. But because this is what I've said all along, because it's so easy to create, who cares if you won't care. You'll just enjoy the nonsense of creation in seconds, and see where that can go. You won't care if you have ownership of it or not. So we're going to enter a sludge pool of chaos and nonsense, of really high quality stuff that has no ownership but still exists and is out there and can cause all sorts of problems and bring up questions and even be inspirational at times. It's just a very unusual, unprecedented era, and we must now prepare for what is the effect of all this on the human condition, the human desire to create, the human desire to show others their work, for people to see things and be proud of it, for people to take satisfaction in a job well done, for an audience to be awestruck. All of these things are going to be undone or substantially shifted, in my opinion. And we are already at that moment. Those videos I've just seen, I believe that's enough to now say, it's very hard for me to now ever be impressed again by anyone's piece of work, because I won't know how easy was that to create. So unless I follow an artist or I track their work and I'm a fan of what they're doing, I just aren't going to care. And maybe with actually now artworks, that artist can still sort of build a visual image of their career, and people can still follow it like fans. But in the movie business, where all that matters is the end result, it's the ramifications are now absolutely incredible.
This is beyond now, because before it was just like, we'll just create this image for a joke, it's a laugh, we'll create these little clips to show what it can do. But already it's gone into a point where people are now, you can make longer clips now, and you'll be able to make feature length stuff now. So then it's like, it's just blown up in the sense that people are now taking that, creating new things with it, selling it, publishing it, all this kind of stuff, making businesses out of it. That's all off the backs of, you know, everyone who's worked really hard to get where they are to create this stuff in the first place. It's evolving at such a rapid rate now, and obviously, you know, creatives are getting out of work because of it. You know, all these big studios are just taking over the AI stuff because it's just cheaper, that their labor is less intensive. It's the ramifications of it on worldwide, not only on the human side. Like, this is really demoralizing on such a scale that we've never seen before, because before it was like you could either draw or you can create or you can't, and if you can't, you just learn how to do it. But now everyone's doing this thing. There is no, like, you don't even have to have any expertise in art. You can just type and create something, sell it, make it big, make a business, make money off of it. There's no stopgap anymore, and now the creatives are literally being run to the grave, because so many people who have no intention of creating anything, they have no intention of learning how to do anything, but they are now taking over the whole industry with no knowledge of the of artistry and creativity. They put something out there because all the hard work the computer does, they don't need to have a think about camera
and
angles.
it really is like, yeah, all the hard work. So I've seen there's a comic creator now, and the video I saw, bear in mind, creating comics, right? We all have had a vision to create a comic. It's something like anyone who's into art and that type of field has always had a sort of desire to create a story. But creating comics is one of the hardest endeavors of all. It takes the longest. It's the most time consuming. It's the closest to your heart you can get, probably, because you have to spend so much time with it. So for anyone who's ever managed to do that, it's such a special thing, because it's so hard. Like, look at some of the best comic creators in the manga industry.
Yeah.
Mira died. It's like that taxing on the body and mind to create a work of art like that. Anyway, my point is, I saw this comic creator come up, and literally this is how it was sold. If you can't draw, don't worry, it does it for you. You just type in the 4 names of your characters. It will create the avatars. It now knows how to slot those in at any angle, in any background, in any scene. You then type in the style of the manga you want. And then the next point was, but if you struggle to tell story, I was like, well, okay, so this is the focus on someone who wants to tell a story but can't draw. Next part of the video. Don't worry if you can't tell a good story. ChatGPT 4 is built into this system. It can do it for you. And at this point, I turned off the video, because I'm like, well, what exactly is the person doing here? Like, what's the point? What dream is being fulfilled through this process?
Yeah.
And I'm like, my God, is this going to happen across every field?
Yeah.
Because this is a swamp of absolute cack.
Yes.
For want of a better word.
Exactly. And yeah, the creatives are, what can you do anymore? Because there's an infinite amount of resources out there.
And it's going to the argument is that the best creators will always still shine through. But I feel like every effort has been made to sort of stop that happening, to narrow that. It's hard for me to see how you can against these odds as it shrinks every month. We're a month better than we were a month ago in terms of this tech. It's just the growth is way too much. In the end, the AI might as well create the AI, and that's we're heading there already. We're already heading there.
Exactly, it's going to regurgitate itself, and then the stuff being made now is astonishing. As in, it actually, camera angles and choreography and cinematography is stunning, and no amount of human input did that. That was all the computer did it, because it's using all the resources from out there, from all these films and video footage, that it can create all these camera angles, that even the editing, it was all done by the computer. So the actual human person behind the prompts didn't do anything. So it's going to get to a point where it's going to become so big, the whole computer is going to create a whole film, and not only with the visuals, but with the audio and the editing and in the acting. And it's going to get to a point where even now, I imagine you have short films that are completely AI generated, and that's just short films. When you're going to get to feature length stuff, and it's happened already in not, we're not even in live action, but with animation, and you get whole YouTube videos now that are just completely all created by AI. It's going to come to a point where everything that we see has been created by the computer, and there's no human creativity involved anymore. Yeah, it'll get to a point, as where human intervention will have to come in, because the computer will probably start to regurgitate itself and start messing up and eating itself, because it's just going back and forth on its own creation. But even then, I think the technology is so vast and superior that it will be able to rectify itself very quickly. They'll be able to program it so it does something fresh and new with it. It's just insane, actually. Just thinking about it, we're going to get stuff that every single piece of work out there has been created by AI in some capacity, if not all of it. And where does that lead to human beings? Fundamentally, art is all about human communication, human expression of feelings. That's what art is, whether it be music, writing, you name it. But you remove the human element, you're removing the human soul basically from it. You're getting something that's very cold, that's very soulless. But then I'm thinking, do people even actually care? Because you get so many movies out there that are created by humans that are such rubbish anyway, and people lap it up. Do they even care that a computer's created something? Do they care that the human element is not there anymore, because the computer is emulating human feelings and expression to such a good extent that, and to be able to mimic that in a way that you almost think is human. You're gonna be getting. In fact, it's probably out there. You're gonna be getting AI.
Well, I think this is the other side of it. We already entered the era where of regurgitation of race to the quickest buck. If something's good, it's milked beyond measure for the next 10 years. So having that type of mindset and ideology, which is dominant in the creative mediums right now, is just absolutely going to fuel this whole AI thing, because this is even more time saving. But I'm interested to think how you're a creator, you're someone who wants to get, into these fields, you want to create stuff, get your own brands going. How do you feel now with this ticking away, not even in the background anymore, but it's right on your doorstep? How do you feel as an individual who wants to make their own film, who wants to get their own art brands going, and wants to invest a lot of time and effort into this stuff, but knowing that ultimately you want to do this for monetary value so that you can do more of it? How do you feel with this dawn of this new, let's call it a new age, is here, AGI age? How does it make you feel?
I think it hurts everyone, because we all have this desire to create. It's human nature to produce and create and express yourself. And this is really putting a cage on it. In fact, it's making us insignificant in that sense. And yes, you could be very demoralized by it and not want to do it anymore because it's taken over. But ultimately, and I think hopefully that this goes with a lot of people, and it should, and especially you and I, we do it for ourselves as well. We want to create for ourselves. Yes, it's like we're getting an onslaught of all this, but it's not going to stop us, because it's in our nature. It's part of the human soul to want to create and express our feelings. That's what being human is all about, and that hasn't stopped us. And that will never stop us. Nothing will ever stop us from doing that. So I think even if this is putting a plug on that, we will find other avenues to do it, and we won't stop doing it. But at the moment, the barriers that this has created, it's just so huge that you have, I wouldn't blame anyone for not doing it anymore, because when you do it now, what's happening? It's stealing what you're doing still. So it's like, why should I create anymore now? Because all the AI is going to do is steal my work and create something better from it. So why should I even bother anymore now? But I still think, you should be expressing yourself still, but then we have to try and think of ways where this thing doesn't take over completely. And I think that is where the next conversation really lies in, is the regulation. Now obviously it's very difficult to regulate it,
but its mission is to completely take over,
and its mission is to completely take over. So this is where the human rebellion has to fight for this, and you either regulate it in a way. I know YouTube at the moment is copyright striking stuff with AI in it, so the fight back has begun. You can't really regulate all this kind of stuff, because with AI,
you have to remember the people behind this stuff are just infatuated with it. They're infatuated with the power at their disposal, and they don't care about the outside world. They're actually not really living much of a life probably outside of what they're doing, because they're so invested in it. So to them, this is their playground. This is their art world. And they all rival each other So that's, look how many different models are coming out. It's like an arms race to outdo each other,
Yeah,
and to hell with the real world and the
yeah,
implications. They don't care when they're challenged about it. The average person, and I'm talking about not the people who are paid to talk about this stuff and sell it, but the ones who are actually invested in the numbers and the crunching and what are the models doing and feeding in the information. They love it. They just want to see, how far can I take this? It's so fascinating to them.
and this is the thing, it's the power and the superiority of creating something better, and then look what I can do and look what it can do, and and to be in total control and to make as much money as you can from it, damaging the whole thing in the process. Now, this is the other issue is that you get certain parts of the world where they're totally, can see the ramifications of it and are against it and are outspoken by it. Like, for example, the West, USA, definitely UK. There are a lot of people that, yeah, this is not good. And you get lots of pockets, for example, in Europe, in Asia especially, and I think you can vouch for this one as well. There is complete like embracement of the AI, and they do not see the terribleness of it. And I think India is another one where AI imagery and videos are just out there. People are loving it, and there's no disconnect from it. There's no like, well, hold on a second, what we're talking about right now doesn't matter. Oh, it doesn't matter if it's starting from this, because you created something amazing and I love it. I want more. So this whole mentality is another thing, because
India is a booming economy where individuals for the first time have a chance to match their Western counterparts. So it's very exciting for them. So they know as well as everyone else how like dangerous this is, how cutting corners it is, how much of the creative process it eliminates. But they also know what an opportunity to make a quick buck. This is well publicized on their podcast of their creative companies.
Yeah.
They actually want to enable their individuals, their people, to embrace this technology. To hell with the results, because right now they can be right at the forefront. So the last thing they want to do is regulate it and calm down.
Yeah,
when they can match anyone else now.
Exactly, anyone can do it. But I'm looking at the people that are doing it on Instagram and all these art sites, and there's a lot of entrepreneurs, there's a lot of tech people, there's a lot of people who are not artists whatsoever, but they call themselves artists because they're making a lot of money from this. They're not entrepreneurs that just manage to understand how it works, how to prompt, how to generate stuff, and are making an insane amount of money on this. They're not artists. They call themselves AI artists. They're not. They're entrepreneurs. They're business people, and they're all about making cash. But they're making a lot of it because, and a lot of people are into it because of what they're creating. So then you get that disconnect. That, yeah, fair play. You're making something out of all this, and you're booming in your industry, but there's no understanding of how this is bad. It's just, yeah, look what we can do. And Asia is technologically on the forefront of everything at the moment, and yeah, that they're embracing this. And but then again, you get an amazing artist from Asia as well, who are totally against the stuff as well. But then you get the other side of it. The mentality around the world is just, it's not there's not unity in this. It's just either, yeah, we're against it, we love it, or, oh yeah, it can be a bit bad, but it's still amazing, or we love it completely, let's keep doing more of it. And it just keeps going and going and going, and people just keep creating more and more and more, and the technology is going faster and quicker and everything. So where how can we stop this thing if people are actively into it and actively want it and actively want to see it? I follow a ton of people online that absolutely hate this AI stuff. But then when somebody posts a funny picture made by AI of a cat on a banana, they love it. And I'm like, well, hold on a second. How can you be against AI but then like that kind of stuff? And then it's like, oh yeah, but this is funny. It's a meme. It's a joke. Yeah, but you don't understand the hypocrisy in that. The creative part of it is the one that is really damaging. And I think that's the one that we need to be speaking about. Obviously, AI has its plus points. It's in the medical field, and I just read yesterday that that AI has solves a nuclear fusion puzzle for clean energy. Brilliant. That's what we should be using it for. If you're using it to help humanity, brilliant. That's what AI is great for. But then you get these people cutting corners, making cheap bucks because of taken over other people's, you know, creativeness, taken that part over. That is, and the creative industry is already something of, you know, we're fighting against a wave anyway, because creatives have always fought against industry, have fought against big, you know, studios, against these kind of big things. The creative industry has always been the
and the
underdog.
value of creative time in general.
Exactly. And we're at a point
It's
now.
always been a world where, you know, you put in way more hours than you're paid
Yeah,
for, and
exactly. And underpaid and overworked. We're at a point in history right now where actually anyone can be a creative. We've got the
mm,
technology there. You know, you can create stuff literally on your phone.
mm,
You have all the technology there to start doing it. And then this stuff comes along, which cuts, you know, squishes it down completely.
yeah,
Everyone wants to be a creative as well. Everyone wants to do stuff that they're interested and they're passionate about. You want to be a streamer, try to do that. YouTube, art,
uh,
digital, ever. But now this thing has really put its foot down on everyone,
yeah.
and in the sense that, okay, fine, you know what? Don't be a creative anymore. You know, we need more doctors. We need more, you know, physicians. Well, hold on. Those jobs are also going to be affected by AI, because you're going to get the AI doing surgery at some point. You're going to get, you know, AI writing up essays for you, what they're doing now anyway. You're gonna get AI that does all the manual labor in accounting or whatever. So everyone's screwed basically, and the creativeness is affecting us now because we are creatives, and this is what we've been working towards. But actually, if you look at the whole global side of it, everyone's screwed. Everyone's screwed in a way. You're going to get people that, you know, there's people in roles now which actually will be replaced by AI in a matter of years, if not already, and they're already losing people. But yeah, but is it going to stop people from trying to do what they want to do?
Well, it's an interesting point, and also what you said about this cutting corners element. I think if there's anyone listening, please post your opinions in the comments, especially if you're a creative or someone who spends a lot of time doing art, because this is something I'm struggling with already, is this cutting corners element. So I like to create things, but because I followed the AI scene, I know where it can come in handy and do bits for me. So I've sort of become someone who's now starting to, when I'm working, I question, you know, little things that I'm doing. Like, well, I could save time here. I don't really like this part of the process as much as this. I could introduce AI just to do that for me, and then maybe I do this. And I start to wrestle with my conscience of what should I be doing? Where should I spend my time? Where's the value? And I think we've always done that with new tools and technology, and that's fine. And you slowly, because your brain can digest it over like digital art has got better over the last 12 years as people have generally got better at the tools. The software has improved nice and slowly, and you're able to come to terms with it in real time and realize, yeah, this can help me here. But your skills are improving vastly all the time with it. Whereas right now, it's like at any moment I could intersplice a quick fix AI to any solution I'm doing, and probably my work is all the worse for it. It's lazier, but I'm saving time, and this is a new thing that's coming in, and I'm sure this is something everyone is starting to wrestle with, and it's probably going to be an element that grows and grows and grows within each creative field,
I think it
which is
already has.
another very strange and interesting point, because you're going to start to lose the value of creation, and I'm sure that will have catastrophic effects on mental health. We all know anyone who doesn't have passions or dreams or hobbies suffers when they float through life just living as a consumer. It's not good for you. And in the end, you try and find the goal and you give your life more meaning. Well, we're starting to eradicate the ways you can do that now. And this is going to be a bizarre time. It could go differently to how I think, but I think right now it's very dangerous. In the end, it might open up new horizons. And this is the bit I keep coming back to, this mental health side and this ramifications, because our world is already quite sick, I would say, right? It's a very unhappy place. I'm sure everyone in their social circles is, you're hard pressed to find someone who's genuinely loving life right now. There's a lot going on to be concerned about.
No, definitely, and you have to wrestle with that, and you have to try and you have to try and find that within yourself, to actually, you know, what you're doing and why you're doing in the first place. Struggling with learning something is part of the process, and you're very much satisfied once you've overcome that obstacle, and that's how we learn stuff. You know, with
You
a lot of
do,
it.
but you always were satisfied because you knew it was so hard to do. It was such a light at the end of the tunnel, and you knew
Yeah,
not many other people could do it, and you were going to end up putting something out there that had a very finite existence, as in there wasn't, you know, there's only a set amount that could come close to doing it, and that's the
yeah,
joy. The minute but now you're at a situation where all these processes can be bypassed, and it's all very well saying, I want to do it, but you know, once you're on this world, and it's a natural will start to seep into you. For me, it must be doing it for many people out there. Know that these corners can be cut, and something can do this better in seconds. It's a demoralizing feeling, no matter how you look at it. You can dress up this idea of, oh, I do it for me, as much as you want, but you know it's gnawing away at you. And I believe this is something we can't get away from now, and this is going to have a huge shift on just how we perceive the world around us and how we interact with it and how we fill our time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's trying to find that balance in what you're doing and how you do it. You know, you can write an essay and we can use AI to do a spell check that cuts out a lot of stuff, but then knowing that that's fine, but then using it to write the whole essay for you, that is something that is cutting out a whole big chunk of the creative learning process. So yeah, you know, there's a lot of stuff that helps us with it, which is good, because, you know, life is a grind, working, you know, there's not enough time in the day, we get tired, it's exhausting the older you get. So cutting corners, I say, but actually using tools to help you in little mundane things, fine. But then it's like, you understand where to draw the line. Okay.
Yeah, but we've not seen anything like this. When you look at this trajectory of human evolution, it's actually like a curve, a slow, steady curve, which it's ramping up slowly because technology aids technology. But there's a lot of interesting models. You can look at them out there. Just look at the advent of AGI technology, which some people believe has already arrived, and you go from a curve to a straight line shooting up, because this tech moves so fast that there's no time to digest it on a human level. And the minute you're there, you're just playing catch up all the time. Be overstimulated from the dawn of the social media era. We see more stimulation in a day than you used to see in 20 years. And now we're going to the next stage of that, because it was negated by hard work and creativity. Now you are starting to eat into that process as well. That you cannot comprehend it, and which will be out of finish even if you set months. Your own tech will be out even if you're at the forefront of it, and that is a unbelievable stress on your mind. And that's what we will start to have now as AGI programs, AGI, which some people believe has already happened, and perhaps it's this Sora this Sora videos that we've seen is the first sign of that, because this tech took everyone by surprise. It was a breakneck change in a matter of months, and we're barely into 2024.
Yeah.
So we will have a new model of that very footage later this year, just as an example. Now you have to look at that across every field. We have never seen anything like this. What can you compare this to? So Chaitaku, this is my big problem with it. Yeah, you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Whenever we've had a technology come through before, we've had time as humans to get used to it and adjust with it. What's the last thing that was a huge change that has shaped all our lives? It's the internet, right? But it came through very slowly. A lot of people didn't know about it. It was very slow. It took time to get a hold of people, for people to use it effectively in their business, and we got to grow with it. And it basically has become only a hot, sloppy mess now with social media, which is another element that feeds into this whole world that we live in. I believe the world is quite sick right now. We're in a race for the top. Jobs don't pay bills. You know, everyone wants a second side hustle. Everyone wants to make money as quickly as possible. And when you've got a whole like race of people thinking like that, it's very dangerous to introduce a technology this advanced that takes so much out of the human ability to create. And that's where I believe we're at now. So you've got a technology that moves at a breakneck speed. If you look at the history of human technological evolution, it's like a slow curve. It's getting faster. However, a lot of models will show you that the dawn of AGI has a steep curve because it's instrumental. It's no longer human led. It's artificial intelligence can create for itself, and then it starts to move at a breakneck speed. So we are creating things now. You could start a project, you could be at the forefront of technology, and you'll be out of date within a month because it's moved on. So how can you keep up with that? That's an incredibly like scary prospect, and it's come at a time when the world is extremely fragile. They said nationalism was dead at the turn of the century. Well, look at it now. It's absolutely back. Every nation thinks for itself. Every nation is on a war footing and getting ready for war. So there's no need to slow down the technology on that front. And then you have this other thing where this technology, to be honest, should be more gatekept. But for it to evolve as it did, it had to go into the open markets. So everyone got hold of it, which is something we've never seen before. And it's fed into a world that was already extremely like on a real downer, a real sickness. You know, they say if you look at social media, 70% of it to 90% of it is negative and is prying on that human condition of negativity. Well, artificial intelligence learns off that model and feeds into that as well. So you've got loads of things going on at the same time right now, at a very fragile time for us. And to be honest, it's gone beyond the point where an individual, for me, doesn't cut it to say, well, just create for yourself and hide away from it. No, this infringes on you. So this should be a discussion everyone has. We probably have a better discussion on this podcast than they have in governments who need to do something about this right now, because the whole world is about to completely change again, and it could change in several different ways, but none of them look too good, to be honest. So that's my opinion. What's yours?
No, definitely the global damage that it's doing that's the bigger picture. Yeah, what we're talking about with the creative aspect of it, that's just one piece of the jigsaw, because this infiltrates so many different things, and it's a global issue, and this is why it needs to be spoken about. Yeah, taking over artwork and taking over videos, that's something that affects us on a creative level, and that's why, you know, it cuts us in our heart, because that's what we like to do. But actually, that's only one part of it. This is damaging in the sense that, just like you said, the world at the moment is very fractured, and these tools are not only being used for art, it's been used to weaponize a lot of stuff. It's been used to, yeah, as weapons, basically. It's used to as propaganda. It's used, like, you know, the global news media is now going to be completely screwed, because they're going to be using that to sway opinions. It's going to be used to brainwash people, in the sense that you can create footage that looks like authentic documentary newsreel footage. I think loads of news outlets have used AI footage, not knowing it was AI generated, to get opinions of people, and people obviously are very splintered and angry.
Yeah, and it's championed. The ability to do this stuff and cut the corners is actually championed.
Yeah,
as an achievement.
Yeah, and because social media is largely unregulated anyway, and you get a load of people spewing absolute lies and hatred to sway certain groups of people who are very vocal, and who not only vocal online, but actually it can come out and protest and do things physically. It's swaying their minds on that as well. It has done already.
And I believe even before this came, we were already in a very sick situation. You know, a couple of other things had tried to break through that were just beggared belief. You know, with the NFTs
Yeah,
movement, and I know Bitcoin, and that all still sort of floats around. That they're born out of desperation of
yeah,
people needing the quick
yeah,
buck, something for nothing, haven't had a good life. I'm not. When I say uneducated, I mean not in a place where they need to be in life to actually thrive because of how things have gone, which is a situation a great many people find themselves in. So this desire for the quick fix is there because people eat crap food. Everything is just geared for laziness right now.
yeah. And I
It's
think,
shocking, and
yeah,
we're bringing in technology that embraces us and takes us to a whole
yeah,
new level. You know,
yeah,
you should be embarrassed. You should
yeah,
be embarrassed to
yeah,
be on a YouTube channel saying, "Oh, let me rip this work. Look at this. I can rip this work and do this." You should be ashamed of yourself if you
yeah,
come out with a line like that. Let alone be someone who has hundreds of subscribers, is absolutely loving it, and is
yeah,
just absolutely at peace with the fact they are doing this. You know, we see the adverts about drop Amazon drop shipping of oh, I've just sold 100 books. The best thing is I didn't write any of them. How can you as an individual come out with that
yeah.
line and be
This is
proud? But they are. They
yeah,
are.
the selfish mentality of it, because these people don't they don't care about anything apart from making money. And
Yeah,
they
and how are we? Why are people like that being? Why are we producing people like that in our
because
societies?
there's no consequences for them, because guess what, they're making money and that's all they care about. If they're getting followers and they're getting people following them, and you know, the echo chamber, and they're getting money and sponsorships, they'll become grifters. And there's a ton of people out there, far more than there ever should be, that are grifting, literally spewing lies that they don't necessarily even believe, because they make a lot of money from it, and they don't care because there's not going to be any punishment for it. And if they, and AI is another avenue where they can start doing that. They will be pro AI. They will be pro, you know, any of these things that are completely against moral society, because they make money from it, and then they don't care.
And
Call them
unfortunately,
out.
unlike these other vices, AI is the one that can truly be used in this manner.
Yeah, and they can infiltrate anything, and because because it's unregulated still, they can do whatever they can, whatever they want. This mentality of making lots of money from doing whatever you want, whether it's spewing out outright lies, propaganda, this chasing the next big thing because it is the next big thing and I want to be ahead of the curve and doing it. That mentality really needs to change. I don't know how it's going to, but chasing the next big thing and being the first to get there and then wanting the next big thing, that mentality is just really seriously damaging for us. And that's how things are. It's always the next big thing. What's the next big thing? How can I make money from it? And that's how it is. It's a product. It's a product for them. It's not a tool to create. It's a product to sell. And this is what everything is right now. Okay, what is it? Can I make money from it? Well, okay, all right. And what's next thing? Next thing. Next thing. Next thing. Next thing. That mentality needs to change. I do believe though somewhere there's going to be a crash, because there always is a crash in the history of the world. You have too much of something and it crashes, right? AI
Mm.
with the art stuff, it will crash, because we'll start to see the same old stuff, and it's going to look all samey, and we're going to then yearn for something from, you know, that you know, that is different, refreshing. It's happening right now with movies as well. You know, last year was the biggest drop off for superhero movies that we've seen in about 10 years. All the superhero movies flopped last year, and the biggest movies last year were these small indie films with like hardly any special effects, CGI, whatever. So there's going to be a crash. AAA games crash last year, even this year. Indie games boom. But then what's happening? The indie games are now crashing because there's too many of them,
Mm.
as you well know. But there will be a crash. But then it's like, but then the tech again will be like so advanced that then they'll be creating something that looks, oh yeah, this looks refreshing different. But then you'll find out, oh my gosh, the computer created that as well. So this is why you need to regulate it. There's outright calls right now to ban AI outright, and this is all stemming from the really horrible aspects of what people can do with it, which is propaganda, which is, you know, outright making complete fabrications of stuff. And then obviously we're using it in the most despicable, depraved ways possible. You can take a picture of yourself and create something horrifically inappropriate and get it linked back to you, and you have no say in it. And that was a big thing, especially with the Taylor Swift thing that happened a couple of weeks ago, where now people are like, right, we need to start banning this stuff right now, because people are creating horrifically disgusting imagery from this. And that can be done with any picture that you have out there. And there's lots of pictures of people out there. Children, for example, is one of the main things. You have to ban that, because that's what people can be doing with that, not only with imagery but with videos as well, and sharing it, and all this kind of horrificness. And it doesn't look like badly photoshopped stuff anymore. It looks like, oh my gosh, this looks real. And how can people tell if it's not real or not? You're going to get people, framing people for crimes they didn't ever commit, because there's footage out there. People can't tell if it's real or not. This is where it's heading. So this is the other avenue of it. Not to mention the environmental effects of it. Creating something with an AI technology, and how much damage it's doing to the world and the environment. That's a whole other thing. So this is why we need to. We need to. Started off as something small to make money off of. It's blown up, but the effects are astronomical now. So this is why banning is coming into play now. And I've seen people saying, don't regulate it, ban it, outright ban it. I don't know how they're going to do this though. But people are taking notice. And I know with the Taylor Swift thing, the government started to take notice. But governments are useless anyway. They don't even understand, half of these people, why it's bad. You were telling me stories of people in companies, CEOs, who don't understand any of this AI stuff. So how they're going to ban it or regulate it if they don't even understand how bad it can get? So I think we have to get to a point where it explodes in a manner so huge, more than it is right now, where something that happens, either a crash or something. I don't know. It will though at some point, but I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. And if there is a crash, I don't know how it can bounce. It can bounce back quite easily from it, because it's just ever evolving. So, yeah, it's this is where we're at right now. It's not something to be concerned about. It's something to be fearful of, in the sense that, wow, okay, it's taken over. It's taken over everything in every little aspect. So, what can you do about it? So yeah, obviously, yeah, the creative part of it is what hurts us, but actually it's a lot more than that, and it hurts everyone if you look at it. So what can we do? Ultimately, yeah, you can embrace parts of it, but something has to intervene now. What do you think?
I think we'll have to look at it again in another 3 months.
And even less than that. Probably, like, I'm just looking at the news reports now, and there's things coming out now already from yesterday. So it's like, yeah.
I will say, when, for all we've said, there is still a world. The thing with this tech is it is very much computer based, and it is very easy, to be honest, at the moment, to sort of ignore it all and live your life away from it. It's a choice that we make as individuals, to go in and look at this stuff and scaremonger ourselves and just despair at what we're seeing. But it's still very capable to turn away from it for now.
I think,
and that may be the best thing to do in some regards.
I mean, at the moment, people are still creating stuff. I know the fight back has begun. I know you can get with imagery, you can get things that, is it nightshade that poisons the
I'm talking about really get away from it, I've been going around London's royal parks looking for these flowers that have been planted in advance for the predicted early hibernation emergence of the bee.
So you go back to nature, basically.
Going back to nature, and that made me think, I wouldn't mind doing some watercolor paintings of these flowers.
Pencil, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the other thing. It's making people go, go back to traditional ways of creating art, and when it's not, the computers are not involved, where computers are nowhere near it, and you don't put it up anywhere that any so no one can take it. You go back
Yeah.
to
And actually,
go.
we haven't really looked at this, but yeah, it's been a huge shift. If you actually look at the digital art community, etc., you can see now a huge move to especially with the YouTube shorts and all that, the 60-second videos and stuff, where it's suddenly way more about the creation process. The whole point, they'll show an image, but the point of the video is to get the point across. I made this is how I did it. I poured ink onto the floor and then spread it with a stick and a flower, and this is the result I got. Just anything to show that sort of human side of things and that
Yeah,
experimentation, which
this
is
is
going
where,
which has
yeah,
been completely ripped away from the digital side of things
yeah,
in a traditional sense.
and this is
So
where
it's quite interesting how things do shift because of it,
yeah,
because we were at the like peak of digital art. I would say it's never been better. This probably the best 20,000 people that work in that area are alive today. It was. Uh, it's a bit of a shame, really, that it's getting hit so hard, because it was actually peaking. The skills were like phenomenal now that some individuals have, but this is likely to be the last crop of people at that level, I would say, because they'll just not. It'll be too hard to have that diligence, I think, to learn every one of those fundamentals when there are so many corners that it can be cut.
yeah,
A bit like when the pyramids, got made. This eventually they got weaker and weaker as pale imitation came in, and those people at the forefront of building them died out, and the skill was lost as simpler methods came in. It's a similar thing, really. I can't
yeah,
think of a better example, but it's happened many times in history.
yeah, exactly. It's kind of like you look at history, but this is what I'm saying. Don't let any of this deter you from creating. Creating is a very human thing to do. It's part of our human nature too. Whether you go and draw things in the sand, or get a sketchbook out and just get the pencils out, which lots of people started to do and learn. And even if you have no skill or any of it, go and learn it still. I would still say do it, because why not? That if that's what you want to do, at the end of the day, you do it because you get enjoyment out of it. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
passionate about it, do it. And there's lots of ways you can do it away from the computer as well. In fact, learning away from the computer is where everyone should start with drawing. That's what we all did. Pick up a pencil or crayons or plasticine, whatever. That's how go back to the basics and start doing it.
And
And
you've done that now, haven't you? You've
well,
actually come off. You've been on the iPad for a year.
well,
Now
I
you've gone back
yes,
to paper for a bit.
I've got a sketchbook right now, one drawing a day that I'm doing, and I've not posted any of that stuff anywhere because I'm doing it at home by myself. One drawing a day, every single day of the year I'm going to do it, and it's amazing. And you know what? Yeah, it's beautiful. And actually, everyone should be doing stuff like that. Moving away from the computer, that's completely fine. And that stuff is my own. I'm never going to post that anywhere because that's all me, and that's what I enjoy doing. Yeah, I just hope people can see that actually. Yeah, the technical side of stuff, in social media and internet, you can do stuff away from that. But the desire to share stuff is also a human thing, and you want to put your stuff out there because you want to share it with people.
Yeah, you want that validation. You want that
Yeah, you
feedback.
do, and we enjoy sharing it. But I'm doing it right now for myself, yes, which we should be doing anyway. But that human connection is also very much a part of art, to express yourself to other people, and we do that online because it's the quickest way you can do it. You can put it up in an art gallery if you can, that which is quite tricky to do. But yeah, it's instant to put something up online and people can see it within seconds. That is something that we will miss for a while, if you want to move away from that completely. But then you have your friends and family close to you that you can show them physically your stuff without putting it up anywhere. But yeah, it's ever changing, ever evolving. It's still heading towards catastrophic disaster still, but there will be a point where it crashes somewhere somehow, and some major power intervenes. I don't have enough faith in those powers though, because they always utilize it for their own gain as well. They don't really do much about it, and they don't do enough. So it's not going to be a complete, concrete, fair, balanced, restrictions on this kind of stuff. It's just we're in a place where anything can leak through now. Even if something is banned, there's billions of ways now to get around it. And there's just the pedant with the just the wordings of different things means, oh yes, I can do that, but technically I can do this, and you can still, it's just there's just too many things that they can get around. So, and then you got these dark web stuff as well, where things can just leak through. So we can't regulate it. And even if you were to ban it, is it really going to be banned? I don't know. But at least with the mainstream stuff, yeah, fine. So like YouTube was like one of the first right now to start blocking things using AI, even if they stated it was AI as well. But we get to a point where you can't even tell anymore, and they're masking it so completely. I don't know. But you just have to keep an eye on it, and you have to keep just making yourself aware of what's out there and how it's affecting things, and try to work with it and around it. But yeah, it's a disastrous time. It's a disastrous time, and I don't see a way how it's going to slow down. I don't think it is going to slow down. It's just ever increasing, quicker and quicker. We'll do another one of these in a couple of weeks, just because something else is going to blow up out of nowhere. Have you seen this? I mean, me and you always text each other. John and I always WhatsApp each other. Oh my gosh, have you seen this? Have you seen this? Have you seen this? Outrageous. What can you say? It's just constant stream of stuff all the time, every single day. Yeah, it's wild to say the least, but yeah, what can you do? What can you do? Just be aware of it. Just be aware of it. And if you're not aware of it, you will be, because you can't escape it. So if you're actively ignoring, I don't know what you're talking about, well, you probably do. You just probably haven't noticed it yet, or it will catch up with you easily, because it's just all there, either hidden or outright blatant out in the open. But it's all there. Even in my current workplace, is saying try to utilize it just to help you out. It's like, what? And I'm sure for a lot of people, they're starting to introduce it now, and giving you justification to do it. And it's like, where do I draw the line? In my current field of work, my day job, it does cut out a lot of extra hours you're doing struggling to write something. But then I'm like, well, do I do it then? Because it's gonna easily cut out 4 or 5 hours of extra work that I have to do overtime. Or do I do the work because that's the process that I enjoy? I don't know. You have to try and find that balance as well. As you were saying, mentally, you have to look within yourself to see as well how you're going to utilize it, how you're going to balance it out, how much of it can you do that makes sense for you, that is fair, how much of it are you going to use that in a good way, and how much of it do you think is in a negative way. Putting all of that with your life, with your career, with your social hours, your leisure time, your time with your loved ones, all of that stuff. it's crazy. And we're trying to live here, and then obviously, we're trying to enjoy our lives with the limited amount of time we've got on this planet. So, juggling all that around, you have to find it for yourself. But yeah, that's how it is. I just think it's very disingenuous just where it's come from, this AI stuff, because it's just all
that's the big thing. And it could end somewhere quite good, I think, eventually.
Yeah, it could. Well, good.
If you were starting to realize worlds for people, that's where this all wants to head, then of course that's going to be very interesting. But we've got quite a swamp to get through before that. I'm not sure everyone's going to make it through.
Yeah, cut out all these money makers, grifters, and these just propaganda artists just going out there trying to tell people, with outright lies of how amazing it is and what you can do to make quick buck, and then sod off to something else to make something money off somewhere else. Those kind of people, cut those guys out, because they're the ones that are promoting it fully. Because every time you go on social media, every other second there's an ad or one of these idiots trying to promote this stuff to you. And it's like, get rid of that kind of stuff. You know, that's one of the first steps. But you know, if it's all driving traffic towards it, because it is money making. Because you have to subscribe to these softwares, don't you? So OpenAI and Sora, you have to subscribe to them, isn't it? You have to pay money for it, as far as I'm aware. I know it's free, but you have to pay.
Different levels, different levels.
Yeah, and a lot of the free ones, well, it's like you was it 5 free images you get, and then you start paying for it, kind of stuff. So they're all trying to. It's a business, isn't it? At the same time, and then you go, well, art has always been a business, right? Creativity has always been a business. We're always trying to make money from it. The more money you make, the better it is. But this is where it's got now. You want to make so much money, this is what it's created. But that's another chat for another day. But yeah, lots of interesting stuff today. It's just crazy how quick it's been. The last one we had, I think we covered quite a lot the last time, but we went even more. And I think we can see so many other sides to it as well, even more different factions of it. But I'm still very much anti-AI with the creative field, especially. That's my stance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'll always be, actually, because
well, edit this bit out if we haven't done it, but tell us what you think of the images playing in the background. None of them are AI, just the doodles and musings of us.
No,
tell us if you like this format.
But the funny thing is, you watching this on YouTube, you will probably see ads or something silly that is created with AI as well. So that's the hypocrisy of all of it. But this is very much an anti-AI channel. All right. So unless it's something to just help a tool here and there, we will not create anything using AI in a big fundamental manner. We do it to help. That's and not take over. Right. Thank you very much for your time, John. Anything more to say on this before we wrap it up?
No, that's it. Until next time.
Yeah, definitely. We'll catch you guys again. Thank you very much for listening to Chaitaku After Hours AI. You can listen to me on YouTube and Spotify, and you can also catch John on Instagram. It is Barracuda Egg. Is that correct? Yes, it is. And yeah, give him a like and a follow as well. Any comments are more than appreciated. But thank you so much. What do you think of AI? What do you think of what's going on with it? Are you using it? Are you not? If you're using it, please tell us what your justification is on this whole thing getting out of control. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. Next time on Chaitaku. Thank you.